My name is Robert Thomas. I am a native Houstonian. I also serve as a senior pastor of the Olivet Missionary Baptist Church in Houston's 5th Ward. It was housed in a facility in the 5th Ward that also flooded, received a lot of water damage during Hurricane Harvey.
Torrential rains are engulfing the country's 4th largest city as rising water chases thousands of people to higher ground.
We need help in 5th Ward. We need people here to evacuate people.
And so as I inquired, I've really not gotten a complete answer as to why we've not had a push to have the library open. When you live in a neighborhood that is predominantly, let's say, low income, what our residents have had to do now is go 2.5, 3 miles to the library at Cashmere Gardens. Public libraries are much more than just a library. They're hubs for seniors and for young people, people that don't have, and our community is kind of short on access, 5G, even 4G. And a lot of people don't have access to laptops or home computers or the internet. And so oftentimes the libraries are used to disseminate information to seniors and to young people.
Imagine if you don't have internet at your house, right? And you've been laid off, or you're working a job but you want a new one. Okay, that's a huge barrier in front of you.
I mean, there's a variety of services that the library offers. GED classes can be offered at the library, ESL. The literacy rates in 5th Ward are really not on par with the rest of Houston. So literacy is a problem. If you don't know how to read, you're just curbed from so many activities if you can't read and comprehend. So leaning toward literacy, that's what we started out doing, working with the architecture department here at U of H.
My name is Jason Logan, and I'm the director of the Keelan Design Lab, which is the design build lab at the University of Houston. I'm an associate professor, and I also teach design studios and seminars within the College of Architecture.
I had a rough idea of what I thought the building would look like, and then I gave it to the professors. It's a really cool design that not only incorporates the facility, but it also chronicles the history of the 5th Ward. It's over 100 years old, so it keeps the history and character of the community, but also it's a cutting-edge design inside that old 100-year-old structure.
The community influenced the project, I would say, primarily through observations of how structures in the existing community worked to create that benefited the community. And so one would be, for instance, one observation was how the front porch operates within the 5th Ward community as a real social space. Observations like that really impacted the project in the way that we thought about how the project could open towards the street, kind of reestablish a front porch to that building, and become a space where the community could come together and gather on the porch of the project.
So we have a building that was, believe it or not, an old speakeasy. The history tells us that there were various nightclubs and speakeasies at this location going back to the early 1920s. And so the building itself is over 100 years old, and we're trying to make sure that we save it, but also make it usable for the community, for literacy, and for workforce development training. So it started out to be, but this is a building, once we did the history, found that it was built between 1895 and maybe 1910. It's made of cypress wood, which is almost indestructible. 95% of the building they can reuse.
We began by looking at both the research from the CDRC, and the students also studied the history of the 5th Ward neighborhood. After trying to understand the site and the context, the students broke up into, I believe it was 3 teams. And each one of the teams approached the design from the standpoint of how to support the existing storehouse structure, which had fallen into a state of disrepair. The main issue surrounded the condition of the existing building. So the existing project has a cracked slab, so the foundation would need work for that to be installed there. And the existing building itself was falling into disrepair. As far as what influenced the style of the project, it was maybe two intersecting things. One being the budget. We had a modest budget, so we had to think about how to build something to transform that building with not a lot of money. But maybe also just a sort of ethical response, which is that to try to see how we could do the most with as few resources as possible.
Reading nights, all the sports teams, also having workforce training after library hours. You know, the building is still ours, it's still there. There are tons of things we can do. Concert venues, programs for little people. They want to have their little tots graduation. We'll also have a community garden on site, you know, to draw in the seniors and the young people and whomever is interested in gardening. The library, to get folks in, but there are a host of other services that we plan on bringing to the building once we get it open. And we were even talking about hosting 2 elementary schools that are close to us, reading programs to encourage the kids to read. Boys College Prep, Young Men's College Prep is in our area, looking at how we can raise funds for some of those students who are going to go off to college that don't have advent of a laptop, working with some nonprofits that, in our nonprofit, that would be able to provide laptops for them. And then, you know, inviting some of the students here at Texas Southern over to be mentors to some of our young individuals in elementary school. So those kind of opportunities and activities have the potential to be done once we get the facility open. Fifth Ward we're doing a lot of revitalization in the area, and right next door to where our library is going to be the Fifth Ward Museum. So what we have is Fifth Ward Museum, Fifth Ward Library. So what's setting up to be is a destination spot for people who visit Houston. We have a website, oliviacdc.org. There's a donate button there. You can go there to find out more information. Volunteering is always cool. We always need volunteers. We're going to certainly need volunteers once we get the building open. Just continue to speak. If you hear somebody say something about, you know, literacy, say, hey, look, I know about a project in the Fifth Ward. They're promoting literacy there. So word of mouth always helps. You know, giving us a like when you see our project on whatever social media helps. Every prayer, it all helps. We need all of it.